Hello, it's the Beginner Crafter. Welcome to another WIPTube video. I have been productive today, so that's great. I have quite a lot to show you. And let's start with crochet project, which is the mochila bag. And it's almost finished. It's not fully finished yet because I still need to do 2 rows of the body of it, and then I need to think of something for closing, so either a cord or a rope, something like that. The size isn't very big. It's a beginner bag that you can find on Facebook, the pattern for it. However, it fits all 4 yarns that I use to make it, so the size is enough for I guess quite a lot of things, and I think I'm going to do more of these. I will need to find a different yarn because this is not perfect for this is not perfect yarn for this project. It's a little too thick and too loose. This is acrylic yarn, and the yarn that they recommend is mercerized cotton, so I'll need to find something a bit more similar to that. Also, it's not shaped very well. As you can see, it's a little bit thinner here. It's because I tend to tighten up very much, and then it gets very, very tight, and in here I kind of realized that I don't have to be so tight, and it would make it a little bit bigger. So I guess I'll make a few more of these. I've decided not to make the Ruana make along because I realized that this type of crochet that is used is the one where you cut yarn at the end. I was thinking about making the Ruana with fringe, so you do have the ends anyway. They are visible and you actually use them to make something pretty with it. However, it seems a bit wasteful when it comes to making gauge swatch. 1 gauge swatch is not a problem. If I need more gauge swatches, then cutting the yarn after every row and then not necessarily being able to reuse that because it will be too short, for example, not really my idea of what I like doing. So I guess I'll skip it, actually. Maybe think of another project that I could do as a Christmas present for my mom. Although I think mochila bags would also work for her because she also sometimes makes things like crochet or knitting, and I think she just stores it like on top of a table or in a basket, and I guess a mochila bag would also be useful for her. So there's that. I can do that for her as well. So the mochila bag for me. Then Blackwork stitch alongs. This one is from 2020, and I did the 2nd row. I filled it with I guess February and possibly 1 March filler. Yeah, unfortunately this one is done with a very, very light pink, so it's not very visible. But I think my favorite was this one from this row. It's very geometric and I like those, very straight. So I really liked it. And now the plan is I need to do the borders, because for March I don't have any more pieces. Well, I have this one square, but I need more. So I guess I'll do the borders as much as I can, or as many as I can, and then start filling again. So this will, well, I guess the borders won't really take so much time. It looks like I've counted everything perfectly, so I can just follow everything that I have so far, like those bare bones that I had to make the general outline. And then I'll continue filling. I have kind of finished the September fillers for the 2023 cal. I will show you them in a moment. But since I will not be making more progress on the other stitch along, I can focus on this one for the next days. So it should go pretty fast, and I should make a lot of progress, even though I do have another trip. But it seems like having some days off is actually very productive for me. I was away for a few days, and I actually worked really a lot in the other days. So I think that's really a good thing that I have those breaks, so I may actually make more progress, like do the borders and fill the third row. I think I'll be working like one row per video. That seems logical, kind of, but we'll see how much time and fun I'll be having with the fillers. I might do more than one row, I might do less, I guess, sometimes. So we'll see, but the progress is happening and the change in colors is visible. I think it goes through like different colors and different shades, more or less like a rainbow. I haven't really checked the order of the colors, so I don't know how it works with the rainbow, but every filler is a different color, and at least with red, it was going from the darkest to the lightest. So I think it will continue like that throughout the whole project, because I'm using the numbers of threads suggested by the designer, and I'm not changing anything, because it's also good practice for me to work with different colors to see how they behave, and if in the future I will ever design my own project, then I'll kind of know which color looks good for what, how visible it is. And for example, this one is totally not visible from a larger distance. And the top row is obviously much more visible. So that's good info for me as well. Then this year's Blackwork Stitch Along. So I've got September and the finished August, because there was one from August that I didn't actually do it last time because I knew that the thread would continue here. So again, I have two squares that are not finished because, again, I will need the thread and it will happen kind of later. This one will be repeated here and this one will be repeated here. So I need to wait until October fillers at the end of the month to continue doing that. I really like this one from September. This is definitely my favorite square and filler, so I really liked working on that. This one not so much, but we'll see how it works later on. For now, it wasn't my favorite, definitely. And this one is a little too much, maybe. It kind of reminds me of a barbed wire for some reason, so maybe that's why I wasn't enjoying it too much this time. But still, these are very interesting designs, and it was actually quite fun working on those. So during this year, so there's still a lot of squares to be made in this year. Actually, it seems weird that there are so many squares left, but I guess it's just some kind of perspective. It seems like a lot is still left when in reality is not that many to do. Okay, now cross stitching. So first, Avarice. Let's start with this one. Avarice actually didn't get so many stitches done, just 601 this time. And in total in September it was 1,389. And I'm at 9.05%, so getting close to 10, which is good. I did fill sort of the other part of the page a bit. I don't think I used black. I may have finished a thread that I had, but other than that, I don't think I was using any black. Dark brown, yes, quite a lot of it. Also some lighter colors, and I did get rid of some of the parked threads in here. So quite a lot of details I worked on, and you can see the face a bit more clearly. The outline of the face is a bit more visible, and also of the hair. So that was great to work on. And I also worked a little bit around here. It still might be this page actually, but like the previous diamond part, or it could be a few stitches on that page as well. I'm not really sure. I didn't pay that much attention to it, to be honest. And it looks like pretty soon I'm going to have to grid a bit more, because well, the page finishes around here, so I think I've got the squares for that. But if I need yarns or threads actually going a bit further down, then it becomes a bit problematic. I don't see that well where it's supposed to go. So I might have to grid soon, especially once I move to the next page, and it will also be a bit more problematic than going down. So yeah, it's a nice progress, even though not so many stitches as I actually thought there would be. But it actually is quite a visible progress, which usually doesn't happen as much if you don't stitch too many stitches on this one. So I'm hoping to make a bit bigger progress in October on it. Just because I need to step up a little bit to make sure I'll finish. I'll get to 10% this year, because this is the goal that I need to get to 10% this year, so that I can start the second picture from the series, Envy. And I would like Envy to be the New Year start. So I still have 3 months and I need to get to 10%. So that's 1% in 3 months. So that's about, I guess, 0.33 more or less percent per month, which has been happening so far. For example, in September, I got about 0.5% done, so it should work fine. But obviously it would be better if I got more than 10% done this year, so that this start would be a bit more I don't know how to explain that. I don't have a perfect word for it, but yes, the threshold line is 10%, but kind of the worry I have is that when I get to 10% of this one, I start the new one, work on both, so the progress will be slower on both than I had just with this one. And it will just make things go much, much, much slower. So it would be great if I got more done than just 10%, get to say, I don't know, 10.5. It's not much more, but it is more. It will just make me feel a bit more comfortable that it is happening, because just working on this one from the series, it took me, well, it still haven't taken because I'm not at 10%, but let's say I will finish the 10% in November, because I'll be working 0.5% a month. It's still year and 3 months, so 15 months to get to the percent, working on just one picture. 15 months, 10%, times 10 to get to 100% is 150 months. So that's 12.5 years working on one picture. When I get started on the next picture, then it kind of slows down and it moves my finishing date quite a lot. And then I would like to add next ones. So yeah, I would really like to get to actually more than 10%. And during this year, finish gridding at least part of the fabric for Envy, so that my January start actually is start of stitching, and not just preparing the canvas for the stitching. So that's a big hope, and that's why I want to step it up a little bit, so that like right now I was working about 0.5% a month, so that I get to do a little bit more. And with 3 months I could actually get to, for example, 11% or over 11%, so that it's slightly more done and slightly less to get it to the finish line. So that's the goal and that's the hope. We'll see how that works, because like I said, I'm having a trip and it will be a bit longer trip than I had last time. So fewer days for stitching, because I won't be taking anything with me to work on. Then Mini Marvelous Garden, which was quite a good progress, because I did 1123 stitches in the last 2 weeks, And in total in September it was 2064 stitches. And because I am at 53.3%, so over 50%, I am getting rid of parked threads. There are fewer threads now parked because I've finished a few, but as you can see, there's still a long way to go with cleaning things up. I did that row and then another row in all three sort of pages, but still there is a long way to go for me. Quite a lot of stitching, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest, because the picture is just looking better and better. It does look with a lot of white spaces, but also in some parts the white spaces are getting filled because there was a bit of a thread on one page and it finishes there, but I actually can use it on another page, so that is really great. And this is what I'll be doing next time. Somehow I thought it would be much faster getting rid of those parked threads, but it's not. It's actually full-time work. So I've been working on those threads for the last 3 weeks actually, because it was also in the previous WIPTube, and it still doesn't look like I'm getting close to it because those threads are quite long where I'm parking them. So yeah, there's still a long way to go with just parked threads, but the picture is looking better and better, and I like it more and more. Because there are fewer white spaces there, for example. I remember I did stitch quite a lot there. It's still, there are some spots like confetti stitches, but not as many as there used to be. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm looking forward to working on it. It's really fun to fill all those spaces. Sometimes it gets a bit difficult because suddenly I have an empty square and I'm supposed to put a stitch somewhere in the middle of the square, and it's not as easy to notice if it's really in the correct space. When you work regularly, sort of, you start from the first stitch. It's much easier. It's just much easier to work on things. But here it's sometimes a bit more stressful and difficult, so I need to double count or triple count even sometimes. But it works. It moves forward. And it's looking better and better, and I'm super happy about it. So also I think in October I'll be doing quite a lot of stitching on that. Not sure if there'll be as many stitches, but certainly there will be some stitches made. And Miranda got 1884 stitches this month. Sorry, this 2 weeks. So Miranda got more stitches done during the 2 weeks than Avaris got in the whole month. But to be honest, Miranda is my focus piece this year. In total, in September, I stitched almost 3,500 stitches on it, so that's great. And I'm at 32.66%, so not even a third of the whole picture. And as you can see, I'm getting really low when it comes to the page that I'm working on. I'm almost at the half of it. The white that you can see is some of it is parked threads here, so I sort of need to get to those threads, those rows, and then I'll be stitching. And also there is one color that I finished, and I actually thought I had it, like I had another skein, and I don't. So I need to go and by this color to fill it up. There aren't that many stitches that I made on those pages or in this page, although this page did get filled in a little bit. But I'm mostly working on this one, so more sea details with those rocks happening, and it is fun. It's not as interesting as Mini Marvelous Garden, obviously, because there aren't that many colors and that many shapes of different kind, but it's actually quite fun to work on it anyway, because these are the shades I like. It's blue, it's gray, it's a little bit of brown, a little bit of green, so the colors that are quite cold, and this is what I actually like. And it's really interesting to see how those similar shades actually make something very, very different. And you can see the details so clearly. So I'll be very happy to work on it more in the next weeks. So to see the next page getting finished, hopefully. And yeah, getting things done. Parked threads are still parked. They will get cleaned up sort of, once I get to 40% on this picture. I remember in January, when I did the January total, I was at 19.55%, and I'm stitching a lot. Like in some months it was more than 4,000, once even 6,000 stitches. So this is like not the best month for Miranda, but still a good one. And for the 9 months of the year that has been so far, I only moved like what, 13%, something like that. It is a big piece. I don't think it's as big as Avarice, so that's something to have in mind. But yeah. Yes, Miranda before wasn't my focus piece, so I wasn't stitching as much on it. But yes, 13% in 9 months, so I should get to 15, I guess, in a year when it's a focus piece. This one will also take a lot of time to get finished. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, even though it's yes. just 30%, a little bit over that, not even a third of the whole picture. It's sometimes overwhelming a little bit, and scary how much I've done when it comes to how long it took me to stitch, and how little I've actually done when it comes to how much more I still need to stitch. So yeah, that's the progress on Miranda. And the last project is knitting. So that's Bloom Between the Lines, and it's getting long. So I'll have to change, I guess, the way I'm showing it. Although not much is changing, let's be honest. It's the same design over and over again. And I did the regular pattern and then 5 pattern repeats. So in total I have done the pattern 6 times. And I'm supposed to do it 18 times. So I'm in a third of it. And I still have this much of the first ball of this yarn. And I think I've got 5 of those because those were the amounts that we were supposed to get. So I don't know what's happening with those yarns that I'm not able to work out how many I'm supposed to have. The yarn, the blue yarn, has changed color, which is great. I'm not really sure if you can see that very well in the design of it. I can see it when I'm looking at the yarn, but when it's worked, I guess sometimes you can see the lighter thread somewhere. So, and I think actually it changed the color twice already. So there was one slightly lighter, and I think now it's a bit more lighter color there. But it's not as noticeable, I think. It will be, I guess, more noticeable once I actually get to those even lighter colors, but right now it's just very, very little. But I'm waiting for the next fuzz buzz to happen and to get another change in color. So yeah, that's Bloom Between the Lines, and I'll be just knitting and knitting and knitting until I finish it. Like I said, I'm about a third when it comes to how many repeats I'm supposed to make. So it will still take a while, although I feel like I'm making it faster and faster because it's easier and easier. I get a bit more proficient in knitting. I am able to remember the pattern for a given row a bit more easily because it's been repeated so many times now. So that makes it faster as well. And also I'm just kind of focusing on knitting and crocheting so much to give myself a bit of a break also from cross-stitching, but also to really move forward because these projects can be big. Like knitting takes a lot of time and I'm not really able to work more than one row in a row. It's just something in my brain. It just doesn't work to knit one row and then knit the second row, or the next row, because I don't know why. It just doesn't work. After one row, I'm done. I want to finish. I don't want to knit anymore. So yeah, that's what's happening. So I kind of need to make breaks from stitching often to start knitting. And when it comes to crocheting mochila bag, I worked on it a lot because I wanted to be done with it before the Ruanamal that is starting Wednesday, or has started on Wednesday, the 4th of October, because I was planning to make it, but now I'm not. So I'm close to finishing the project and I'll have to think of something else to crochet, or I'll sort of give up and start knitting the sweater that I was thinking about knitting actually before making the mochila bag. So we'll see. I'll really have to think what I want to do. If there's a project I want to make, I definitely want to make more mochila bags because I need a bigger one. I want to learn to make different designs of mochila bags, also to sort of feel a bit more sure in myself to maybe design one in the future myself. But first I need to practice with the designs that already exist, because there are a lot of beautiful designs existing of mochila bags. So I'll definitely finish the body before next time. I'm not sure if I'll make the cord for it before next time, or if I'll start a new mochila bag and then work on the cords. We'll see how everything happens. Yeah, later. If you've liked the video, click the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, to follow the progress and see what I actually end up making, and how much progress I'll make in the next weeks. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time. Bye!